Have you ever wondered if the Earth were a living organism, what memories would be most deeply engraved in its body? Not people, not the ocean, but the rocks. The rocks are silent, cold, but remember every silent movement of time. They cannot speak, but they tell stories. Stories that span millions, even billions of years. And on this journey, we will listen to that voice. 1. The 12 Saints, guardians of Australia's silent sea. There is a place where the ocean is as blue as velvet and the sky turns golden at sunset, where there are giant stone pillars that have stood still in the storm for millions of years. People call them the 12 Apostles, but in reality there have never been 12. The name is a promise, a dream of travel, a way for humans to dress the rocks in a mythical cloak, located along the Great Ocean Road in Victoria, Australia. These towering limestone formations are silent giants. They were once part of the land, attached to the mainland like fingers to a mother's body. But over millions of years, waves and winds have eroded and torn them apart. First caves formed, then domes, and finally collapsed, leaving behind lonely pillars of stone standing in the middle of the sea like fossilized monks silently watching time pass. In 2005, one of the pillars collapsed. Now there are only 8 left. No one knows when the next will come, but their loss makes them sacred. They remind us that even things that seem eternal are slowly disappearing, millimeter by millimeter. Standing on the shore, watching the sunset cast golden shadows on the rocks, you will see another world appear. Not the world of life, but the world of memory. These stone pillars are the diary of the earth, the remnants of moments nature patiently sculpted. And as you board a helicopter and fly over those stone pillars, the ocean suddenly becomes a stage where stone saints whisper the million-year-old story of this planet. 2. Wulingyuan, when rocks take flight. If there is a place on Earth that makes you doubt gravity, a place where rocks refuse to stay still on the ground but rise up, reaching high as if to fly to the sky, then that is Wulingyuan, China's rock paradise. Located in Hunan province, this place is not only a geological wonder, but also a vivid ink painting, where more than 3,000 stone pillars rise from the ground like immortal souls. Each stone pillar is hundreds of meters high, slender but resilient, as if Mother Earth had pushed them up to the sky in a sigh lasting hundreds of millions of years. Some 380 million years ago, this land was submerged deep under an ancient sea. Sedimentary layers, tectonic movements, and time have all come together to carve out the surreal landscape we see today. Wind blows through crevices in the rocks. Rainwater carves out cliffs, and nature takes its time, creating a mysterious, otherworldly stone forest. There is a special mountain, 1,080 meters high, that was used as inspiration for the floating islands in the movie Avatar. And indeed, when standing at its foot, looking up between the mist and the green forest covering the cliffs, you will wonder, are you standing on Earth or have you wandered into another planet? But Wulingyuan is not only about geology, but also about culture. The fairy tales of the Miao and Bai people tell of gods who transformed into stones to protect the sacred forest, and of cursed love that turned into stone pillars waiting for eternity. In their eyes, stones are not inanimate. They are living stones, loving stones, waiting stones. Especially in spring and autumn, the whole stone forest seems to come alive. The green of the forest, the white of the mist, the gray of the rocks blend together in an endless harmony. The stone bridge Tianha de Nyatkiu connecting the two mountains is where lovers come to pray for love. They believe that if they stand on the bridge and close their eyes, their wishes will be remembered by the rocks. Seen from above, Wulingyuan is no longer a forest, but a stone kingdom. And each stone pillar is a king, a queen, a petrified knight standing guard over nature's dream. When you leave this place, you will take with you not only the majestic images, but also the feeling that you have touched a world that does not belong to humans, a world where rocks have souls, and sometimes rocks can fly. 3. Grand Garnier, the gateway to the realm of legend, nestled quietly amidst the cold winds and mists of the Faroe Islands. There is a place where people believe that once you step through it, you will be lost in another world. That is the Grand Garnier, a natural stone gate standing tall in the middle of the ocean, like an arch opening the boundary between reality and legend. There are no towns nearby, no churches, no castles, just sea, rock, wind, and a chilling silence. The Grand Garnier lies between the island of Vegar and the small island of Tindolmur, carved by the fury and patience of the North Atlantic. Over millions of years, waves have relentlessly attacked the rock tirelessly until they have created a magical, almost perfect arch. The two large stone pillars flanking the gate are called Drangarnir, the elder brother and the younger brother. Legend has it that they were once two giants guarding a gate leading to the land of the sea gods. When the human world forgot its respect for nature, the gods turned them to stone to forever stand guard against the waves. Standing in front of the Grand Garnier, you no longer feel so big. Humans are just a grain of sand drifting before time. The tall stone arch is like an ancient monument, but it was not built by human hands, but by the resonance of water and time. No hammers, no engineers, just wind, waves, and the patience of the earth. Getting here is not easy. Those who want to see the Grand Garnier must travel through winding roads, cross deserted grasslands, and then hire a boat from the fishing village of Sorvagur. But it is precisely this difficulty that makes the place all the more sacred. It is not a place for the hurried traveler, but a destination for those with a quiet mind long enough to listen to the stories told by the rocks. As the sun sets behind the horizon and the last light falls on the sea, the Grand Garnier appears as a supernatural symbol. A gate that no one built, no one destroyed. A gate that leads nowhere in particular but makes one believe that one has just glimpsed a world that has never been named. If there was ever a place on earth that made you wonder if you were dreaming, it was the Grand Garnier. 4. The Pearls of the Moeraki Sea, the round mystery of time. Imagine you are walking on a pristine beach in New Zealand. The waves are whispering softly against the shore, the wind is blowing through your hair, carrying the salty taste of the ocean. Then suddenly, right before your eyes, giant spheres appear, lying silently in the sand, big and smooth like pearls buried since the beginning of the earth. They're called the Moeraki Boulders, perfectly round boulders scattered across Causeway beach as if someone dropped off a collection of the gods. There are blocks as large as 3 meters in diameter, weighing tons but strangely smooth. It is as if nature used patience, not a hammer, to create this fullness. They were not chiseled, not eroded into strange shapes by the wind. On the contrary, they were formed from the earth, growing like pearls of the planet. Scientists call this phenomenon geocrystallization, a process that, over millions of years, layers of sediment and minerals build up in a small core, growing like a dream in the rock. The cracks in their bodies are not wounds, but the fingerprints of time. Some have broken, revealing a layer of sparkling crystals inside, as if someone had once stored light in them and forgotten to take it away. But for the indigenous Maori, the story is different. They believe these rocks are the remains of the legendary Araituru boat, which sank while carrying treasures, secrets, and ancient spirits. The rocks are water jugs, squash, and treasure chests that washed ashore, petrified to commemorate a tragedy no one remembers clearly. You can come here at dawn when the sun is just peeking over the horizon. The golden light falls on the rocks like honey, and their shadows stretch across the sand like the signature ink of time. Or you can come at low tide, to see them in their full, rounded form, unhiding, unguarded, simply there. In a world full of random curves and broken rocks, Moeraki is the antithesis, where the chosen stone is perfect, round, peaceful, still, nothing sharp, nothing rushed. They symbolize a concept that seems lost in the modern world, the fullness that comes from patience, and sometimes just sitting quietly next to a Moeraki block. You will understand. The earth not only knows how to create life, but also knows how to dream, remember, and know how to embrace time in its stone. 5. Arches, the invisible doors of the American desert. If there is one place on the planet where you can walk through rocks as if you were stepping through a portal to another dimension, it is Arches National Park in Utah, USA. Here, nature did not build mountains, but carved stone bridges suspended in the sky, unlocked gates and arches that open straight into the realm of fantasy. More than 2,000 stone arches are scattered across the burning red desert, each with its own shape and name, as if they were living beings. Rather than just geological formations, there are arches as thin as a thread connecting two mountain peaks. There are arches so large that you can walk under them and feel as small as a speck of dust. More than 300 million years ago, this land was submerged under the ocean. Thick layers of salt were buried under sediment and sandstone. As the waters receded, gravity and time began their silent sculpting work. Winds howled, rain poured, and the sun baked. Small cracks grew into passages. And so the rocks opened into gates. The most famous arch here is called Delicate Arch. It is not located next to any rock, but stands alone in the sky, like a monument to steadfastness and elegance. Standing in its shadow, you will feel like you are bowing before a work of art of the universe. But the arches are more than just beautiful shapes. They are also a story of delicate balance. Some of them have collapsed. Others are thinning with every rain. Every moment you see them is a rare, unrepeatable moment. Because time is still eating away at the sand in their structure. At night, when the night falls, the whole area becomes eerily quiet. But at that moment, the stone arches seem to open up to the space of the stars. The sight of the dark stone arch lying quietly under the starry sky makes many people shed tears. It is no longer a stone, but a symphony between the solidity of the earth and the vastness of the universe. And you'll suddenly understand that these arches don't lead anywhere. They're simply invitations to step through, stop, and reflect on the journey you're on. Because who knows, what you're looking for might not be on the other side, but in the moment you step through it. 6. Al-Nasla, a perfect cut in the heart of the Arabian desert, in the middle of the arid and desolate land of Tabuk Desert, Saudi Arabia. There is a strange rock that, if you see it once, you will never forget it. A giant rock, nearly 6 meters high, more than 9 meters wide, is split in half by a straight cut like an angel's scalpel. People call it Al-Nasla. Not only were the two halves of the block cut perfectly, but they also balanced on bases so small that a strong gust of wind would have tipped them over. But they didn't. They stood there, steady, silent, and defying all conventional definitions of physics. How could such a cut have formed? Geologists debate. Some say it's the result of an ancient seismic fracture, widened by weathering. Others believe that soft minerals embedded in the hard rock were washed away over time, leaving a knife-cut gap. But whatever the explanation, the sheer perfection of the cut is unnerving. As for the natives, they don't need science to believe that there is something sacred here. Legend has it that it is the remains of a celestial sword used to punish a traitor to the gods. The sword not only cut through rocks, but also cleaved the boundary between the human world and the world of the unknown. On the outside of the rock, ancient carvings have been found, depicting horses, antelopes, and even strange human figures. They suggest that this was once a meeting place for ancient civilizations, perhaps a stopover on trade routes across the desert. But why would they carve this particular rock? What did they see in it that we don't? In the afternoon, when the sun is slanting, the golden light falls right in the middle of the cut. At that moment, Al-Nasla looks like a forgotten gate. as if you just need to step through to touch another dimension, where all the laws of physics are upside down. In a modern world where everything can be measured, analyzed, and decoded, Al-Nasla is a reminder that there are still things that keep us silent. Because sometimes a stone is more than just a stone. It is a trace of something larger, more ancient, and more mysterious than anything we have ever believed to be true. 7. Chilean marble caves, stone walls that reflect light. If you believe that rocks are just dry and lifeless things, then you probably haven't been to the marble caves in Chile, where rocks have color, shape, dreamlike depth, and even know how to play with light. Hidden among the blue waters of Lake General Carrera, deep in the heart of Patagonia, a wild and almost uninhabited land, the marble cave appears as a sunken cathedral of nature, where the stone has been kneaded by the hands of water for more than 6,000 years. No structures, no human footprints, just water, drip by drip, trickle by trickle, silently eroding the marble limestone, creating smooth curves like silk ribbons. And when the sunlight shines through the clear water, reflecting off the cave ceiling, the stone suddenly glows like stained glass in an ancient church. Inside this complex, there are 3 main areas: Marble Cathedral, Marble Chapel, and Marble Cave, each with its own character and soul. The vertical stone pillars are like the pillars of an abandoned temple. The naturally carved stone walls seem to be carved by wind and waves. During the months of September to February, when the snow melts and the light becomes stronger, the place is ablaze with shades of blue, white, gray, interspersed with patches of pale pink and soft orange. As if the rocks are breathing, living, and telling a hidden fairy tale underground. The locals believe that if you touch that marble wall and close your eyes, you can hear the sound of time. Not with your ears, but with your heart, a distant echo like a whisper from another world. We were here before you were born, before language could name beauty. The journey here is not easy. From the small town of Puerto Rio Tranquilo, you have to take a boat, cross the lake, and row deep into the cave branches. But that journey is an indispensable part of the experience, because only those who are patient and go very slowly can see the beauty of the rocks when they know how to reflect light. Some people call this place the Cathedral of Water and Stone. But perhaps it is something more than that. It is a dream of earth, a dream of silence, of absolute harmony between things that seem impossible. Hard and soft, light and dark, movement and stillness. Marble Cave says nothing, but in that silence you will hear the most wonderful thing, that rocks have souls. And sometimes they are so beautiful that the light bows down. 8. Tsingy de Bemaraha Stone Forest. When stones grow like trees on the ground of Madagascar, there is a place on earth where you cannot walk barefoot, not because of thorns or fire, but because of rocks. Sharp knife-like rocks, dense as forests, grow from the ground like a parallel world turned upside down. It's Tsingy de Bemaraha in Madagascar, known by a Malagasy name that means the place you can't walk on. Here, the rocks are more than just the foundation. They are the entire forest. The jagged limestone peaks up to 50 meters high stretch over an area of more than 700 square kilometers, creating a natural maze that just standing there will make your heart stop in amazement. Millions of years ago, this was the bottom of the sea. When the water receded, the limestone layer left behind began its journey of transformation. Acids from rain and underground streams seeped through tiny cracks, eroding, gnawing, and suddenly creating living sculptures, stone towers, fissures, and seemingly bottomless abysses. But what makes Tsingy all the more surreal is that it isn't dead. Life still persists among the narrow crevices of the rocks. Rare plants grow through the cracks. Lemurs leap from one rock peak to another like circus performers in a fairy tale forest. There are species that can only live here and nowhere else on the planet. To explore Tsingy, people must use ropes, iron hooks, suspension bridges, and courage. Every step on the wooden bridges in the sky is a moment to overcome your own instinctive fear. But when you stand on the top of Tsingy, looking out at the panoramic view of the silver-gray stone forest stretching to the horizon, you will understand. This is no longer a tourist destination. This is a symbol of life in the wilderness. Nowhere else do you see living rocks like this. They grow, pointing straight up into the sky like giant spears. They trap water in every crevice, nurturing an entire ecosystem. They are shelter, protection, and foundation for that most fragile thing, life. Tsingy de Bemaraha is more than just a stone forest. It is a wonderful paradox that nature has patiently created to remind us that beauty is not only in what is soft and approachable, it is also present in things that are sharp and thorny, but still know how to embrace life in their hearts. 9. Devil's Tower, sacred stone pillar of North American native people on the Golden Prairie of Wyoming, USA. Rises a majestic stone pillar towering like a forgotten pillar of heaven. Americans call it Devil's Tower, but to the Lakota and Cheyenne native tribes, this place does not belong to the devil. It is a vestige of the gods, rising 386 meters above ground and reaching a height of 1,558 meters above sea level. Devil's Tower is unlike any other mountain or hill. Its body is vertical, crisscrossed by hundreds of deep grooves running from top to bottom, as if scratched by giant claws. The Lakota believed that long ago a group of children were playing on the prairie when a giant bear chased them. In their panic, they cried out to the gods for help, and the ground rose up, lifting them above the bear's claws. The bear clung on, clawing at the cliff, leaving long scratches. The grooves you see today, when the bear left, the children became the constellation, the Pleiades or Seven Sisters. The science? They say it's the remains of an ancient magma flow that bubbled underground some 50 million years ago. As the surrounding land eroded over time, only the solid rock that emerged was left, like the petrified heart of a cooled volcano. Whether you believe in mythology or geology, Devil's Tower carries an energy field that is hard to name. It is more than just a stone pillar. It is a connecting axis between the human world and the unseen world. The natives hold ceremonies around it. They hang prayer strips on tree branches, sing ancient songs, and whisper to the stone as if talking to their ancestors. When you stand at the foot of the tower, looking up at the top, it feels like standing at the feet of a silent god. The tower says nothing, but it is that silence that makes everything sacred. At dusk, as the last light falls diagonally across the rock, Devil's Tower turns a coppery red. Deep grooves glint like age scars, and you suddenly realize this isn't just a place for photography, climbing, or studying geology. This is a place to be still, to listen, and to feel your connection to the planet. Because in an age where everything is noisy and rushed, a silent stone pillar standing for millions of years is the most precious thing. 10. The 7 Manpupuner Giants, the lone guardians of the Ural Forest, in the middle of the wild taiga forest of the Ural Mountains, where snow covers the land year-round and the wind blows like an ancient whisper of the earth. There are 7 giant rocks standing alone on an isolated plateau. No signs, no fences, no man-made sounds. Just rocks, wind, and a strange feeling that you should not disturb this place. They are called Manpupuner, or the 7 giants of the Urals. Each stone is 30 to 42 meters high, rising straight up into the sky like the pillars of a lost temple. They are all different in shape. Some are as skinny as a dead tree, some are as broad as a warrior's broad shoulders, some lean as if about to fall, but never do. Scientists say that over 200 million years ago, this was once a majestic mountain range. Over time, rain, wind, ice, and temperature changes have eroded everything but the most solid pillars. But even with a good understanding of geology, one cannot deny that the Manpupuner do not look like random creations of nature. They stand as if they have a will. They wait as if they bear a promise. For the indigenous Mansi people, this place is sacred. Legend has it that the 7 rocks are 7 giant Samoyed shamans who came to destroy the Mansi village. But when they reached the sacred mountain, their leader dropped his bow, a sign of insult to the gods. At that moment, they all turned to stone and have remained there ever since, cursed forever. No one dared to pitch their tents too close. No one spoke loudly when standing in front of the stone pillars, and most of the people who came here fell into a very special state. Silent, overwhelmed, and emotional. The journey to Manpupuner is not easy. You have to trek through trackless forests or take a helicopter from afar. But like all ancient mysteries, the inaccessibility adds to the sacredness. When you arrive here, standing among the 7 towering stones, you are no longer a tourist. You are witness to a story that the earth has never written down, but that is forever told in stone. And when the snow begins to fall, covering the shoulders of these silent giants, you will understand this is not just stone. This is living memory. A reminder that there are things whose names no one remembers that still stand, for a reason known only to the universe.